Hey, this is Christian from Lost in Discovery and welcome back to my Rhythm of War read-along. Today we're going to be talking about Part 3, Songs of Home. So in this section there'll be spoilers for all of Part 3 and the interludes that come just after it. If you have somehow stumbled upon this video and aren't up to this section yet, I will link discussions for Part 1 and Part 2 in the description. Okay, so the infamous Part 3 of Rhythm of War. So far, the general discussion that I have heard is that this is a really slow part, it's really boring, and nothing happens, and the flashbacks suck. I didn't feel that way at all. I really loved Part 3, but I guess that's not really that surprising. I just want to congratulate you all before we start for getting your PhD in Fabrials and Light on Roshar. We learnt a lot. There's a lot to talk about. The way I'm going to split up this chat, we're going to start with Venli and Eshonai, then we'll go to Kaladin and Navani, and then we'll go to a highlight, which was Jasnah and Dalinar. Holy crap, so much to go there. And we'll end with the interludes, which were my favourite of all the interludes so far. Alright, let's start with Venli and Eshonai. Now, I was really looking forward to these flashbacks, but over and over again I've heard in people's reviews that they were very underwhelming and kind of boring. Now, I can understand that they're not the journey that Dalinar went on, they're not like the origin story of Kaladin, and they're not the tragic backstory of Shallan. They're something else entirely, and that's okay with me. I think that's actually a nice change. It's not just the standard backstory. Now, immediately what hit me hardest was just like the tragedy of Eshonai. It's just so sad seeing how well-intentioned she was, how bright-eyed and keen for adventure and keen for like getting along with the humans, being fascinated by the humans, just wanting to have just a nice life experience. And I just feel like all her goodwill just went so poorly for her. My dad is reading Words of Radiance and I was listening to a bit of it with him yesterday, and it had, you know, Eshonai's death, and you just think like, man, this just ended so unceremoniously for Eshonai. I just feel like her character is one of the most tragic in the Stormlight Archive, and I really fell in love more with Eshonai in these backstory chapters with her. It was so cool seeing her meet the humans for the very first time. Her interactions with Dalinar were so much fun. I love that line where she was kind of like, I like new places because they are new. And Dalinar like considers what she says and he's like, wise words. It's just so Dalinar. It's just, yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Sanderson. Venli was another very interesting perspective to read from. I like seeing their sister dynamic, the dynamic with their mother who is slowly losing her mind, getting some sort of dementia. Just that brooding jealousy, and which kind of fueled the fire of everything that's happened with the Parshendi up until now. It was nice to seeing the budding moments of that and how that grew into where we are now with Venli. Now, a lot of people have been asking me to mention the Cosmere connections in these videos. I'm not going to mention anything explicitly because a lot of people just read the Stormlight Archive and don't read the other books set in the Cosmere. But I'm going to say something that won't spoil you if you haven't read anything, but if you know, you know. Axindweth, or whatever her name is, kind of scholar that's with Gavilar that talks to Venli. She gives Venli a sphere with like a spren inside of it to begin the whole transformation process of the Parshendi to find war form, which is crazy, by the way. What is she doing with that and helping them? So very interesting. But Terra's woman, very chemist. That's all I will say. Oh my god. And I love that scene where Venli is going out into the storm, getting her new form, and it's like this such a monumental moment for a Parshendi to do this, to find their new form, to go out in the storm, to talk with the Stormfather. It's like so epic. And then the spren comes out. It's like, oh man, that was uncomfortable. Man, I hated being in that gem. Anyway, who are you? What are we doing? All right, we're doing this. And it's just, I love how the spren are just on their own wavelength and like they have no care for what's happening. When they first appeared, they're like, all right, what are we doing? Yeah, that was really fun. But yeah, seeing the Parshendi culture, seeing how they were, like, it's fully confirmed that they were taking those gem hearts to help grow their crops. And Venli mentions that it's mentioned in their songs, so to not tell humans that they use gem hearts to grow crops. Interesting little tidbit. I wonder if there's more to that, because those songs are quite ancient, but yeah, something to note, I guess. Moving on to present-day Venli. Oh man, I just don't understand the Venli hate. I feel like she's such a strong female character. She is working so many different people right now. She's got to work with Leshwi. She's got to work with Raboniel. and she's got to deal with her little crew of rebels who are like way too overenthusiastic about the whole thing. She has to balance so many dynamics just to kind of arrive at some sort of peaceful, okay situation for her. That is great. Like, it's so cool seeing how she has to adjust and interpret into all these different types of situations she finds herself in the present day. It was really, really fantastic seeing her to start engage with her radiant powers as well. A tidbit I noticed was she spoke that she could sing the Song of Prayers to create a void light sphere. That was just mentioned in passing very, very quickly. So Parshendi or just her can create void light spheres just from songs. I feel like that's a lot of information, but that was just mentioned in passing. Yeah, again, just something to note. One of the highlights of Venli's story in part 3 was her interaction with Rlain, another last remnant of the Parshendi, and I love their interaction, and I love Rlain being like, dude, get yourself together, man. Stop wavering. Like, let's go. We got to sort this out. This is no joke. And I loved how he pushed her to like action, and it paid off because she ended up saving him, having him with Kaladin's parents. Not sure what's going to happen with that, but I like that he pushed her on, and it seems like he's a really good voice to have alongside Venli. I hope they have more interaction in the future. Now, in that scene, guys, that Kremling that had a void spren in it. So are the void spren working with the Sleepless and the Amiens? Dude, I don't know, but that was, yeah, another thing to note, I guess. All right, now let's get to my highlight of Venli's present day story, which blew my mind. I like read the page over twice because it was just like an overwhelming amount of information here. Seeing Mraize meet Raboniel, and as soon as Mraize walks in with this like parrot or whatever on his shoulder, I was like, this is going to be juicy as hell. And it was. Mraize has Lift, as he found her at the end of part 2, and he presents her as a gift to Raboniel. And he also has a box or a package of something, I forgot what it was. He presents it to Raboniel, he opens the lid, but you don't get to see what's inside. And she's like, how the hell did you get this? And she's like completely shocked, no rhythm in her voice. And I'm just like, what's in the box? What's in the box? I need to see what he's got. And it's obviously some off-world magic or something like that. He mentions that Lift is powered by Lifelight. So it's not that she got Stormlight from food. It's that food contains Lifelight, and that's the fuel for her radiant powers. Okay, that's really interesting. That's our first person that I know of that is using Lifelight as their fuel for their powers. So that was another major thing confirmed. Mraize talks about his Babs, like his trainer, his leader, which I believe is Thedekar, who is mentioned later. We'll talk more about that. There is a lot going on with the Ghostbloods and what they're up to, and Mraize. Holy crap, there is a lot to talk about there, and we're going to talk about a bit of it in the Jasnah section. But yeah, overall for Venli, amazing character. I think she is totally underappreciated. I understand, you know, the Parshendi story, and that is away from all our beloved human characters. But I feel like their culture is so rich and deep and unique. A culture that is like based off songs and rhythms and magic. It's just so interesting to me. I will admit some parts were a little bit slow in the flashbacks, but I feel like they were dripping with way more information than people are giving them credit for. I'm not saying that they're wrong, but I just personally got so much more out of it than people are generally saying about these flashbacks. Okay, let's talk about Navani and Kaladin. They were in Earthru for the for the entire majority of this section. I really enjoyed following Navani. I loved her relationship with the sibling and Kaladin. The way that they're communicating was really cool, and I never knew like Kaladin and Navani would be the pairing that I needed. I really enjoy their dynamic. I love the mutual respect they have. And speaking of mutual respect, the relationship between Raboniel and Navani is just gold. Navani is trying her damn hardest to do so much to protect her team, to basically save the world, okay? It's amazing seeing how she's trying to tread this line with Raboniel, who's like a thousands of year old entity who just knows so much. She's like talks to Navani like she's a child. Even though Navani does surprise her with her scientific knowledge and practice, she's not impressing her with her scheming. She's like, Navani, can you just stop trying to trick me, and like, can we just do some science together? Can we just make some discoveries? I just want to make a cool society, man. Like, stop it. Love her as a villain. She's so interesting. And it was very interesting to see that crazy fuse that's been following her around is actually her daughter, seeming to have the same sort of dementia / memory loss condition that Eshonai and Venli's mother had. I'm wondering if that is like a Parshendi/Singer thing, or is that just a coincidence? I'm not sure. But yeah, regardless, Navani's whole journey here, it just felt so desperate, and it just felt so tense what she was doing, even though at times it got very, very bogged down in scientific method and theory, which I will admit, yeah, sometimes wore on me a little bit. It went on quite a lot sometimes. It was soaking with information, and it wasn't just about like giving you lore and how the world works. We explored so much of her character because Navani is going back through the journal she wrote when she was with Gavilan the night he died, and it's such an emotional, like cathartic and difficult process for her, and it was great being in her head for that. Yeah, it was very interesting also that she came to the epiphany that Fabrials are actually Spren manifesting in the physical realm just as like shard blades are Spren. So that was like a big reveal as well. That was very briskly mentioned. Yeah, that was cool. Alright, Kaladin, man. Our boy. Ever since the Way of Kings, Kaladin. And, man, like, it is so... It's just like depression. It's just depression, but it's done so well. His dynamic with Syl, man. I feel like Syl is getting some major character development in this book as well. We're seeing such a darker side to Syl, and she's remembering the loss of her first Radiant and trying to get over grief, and her conversations with Kaladin about it, man. It's so good. It's so rich. His, adventures being nerfed slightly, can only use a certain amount of lashings. We learned so much about that, which was so much fun. Him using like the power glove that the power glove the power glove thing that Navani's dude made. Sanderson got so creative with the chase sequences and the fight scenes using this, and having Kaladin have a slightly different set of powers. The scene where he trapped the pursuer in that closing door at the last minute was so freaking cool. Like, Kaladin is just... Dude, Kaladin can get beat up so many times. He can be on the, last legs of life that many times, but he will never give up. And, that's why you're rooting for him. He has so much bringing him down, but he, refuses to give up. And it was so sad seeing, the visions Moash and Odium were planning to do, come to fruition and completely haunt Kaladin. I feel so exhausted for Kaladin, and I feel so exhausted for Navani as well. It is just, it's just a lot for these guys, and I'm just getting drained by this book in a good way. I feel like Sanderson is really showing the struggle of these characters more than ever in this book, and this part specifically. Now, we'll talk about what happens in Kaladin in a second. Let's jump to Jasnah and Dalinar. Alright, Jasnah and Dalinar kind of started off part 3 and ended part 3, and man, they were bangers of chapters. These chapters were crazy. Holy crap. Okay, Dalinar. Well, what's Dalinar doing? I don't know. Interacting and meeting Nail, the Herald. Oh my god. Okay, so Nail rocks up, destroys Seth, Cord with her shard bow, shoots an arrow, Nail catches it. He's man, he knows how to make an entrance, let's just say. Dalinar opens his perpendicular... I can't think of the word. Perpendicularity? Is that right? I don't know. He does that, he touches Nail, and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing, this is going to be so good. And we get flashes of Nail's life so far. And, many generic things here, like the Oath Pact and all this stuff. The part I found the most interesting in these kind of flashing moments was, it seems like we got the moment where Jezrien recruited Nail as a herald. He says that, Nail was his enemy, but he's very just and wants to bring him in. Yeah, just a peek into their life, over 4,500 years ago. Nail and Jezrien were enemies, and was Jezrien recruiting the heralds on behalf of honor? Was that how it works? We got a lot there. And Dalinar saw the links between him and Nail because they were bonding. We saw the links going out elsewhere, and he presumes that's to all the other heralds in the Oath Pact. Misspawn anyone with the lines? Yeah. So regardless, in this initial battle sequence, it was so cool to hear the new tactics of war. It is crazy the stuff they're able to do now. Offhand mention oh yes, we have escape boats and Shadesmar ready. We can just switch to the cognitive realm and get on escape boats. What is going on? This is crazy. Following Dalinar more, it was great to see him in the insanity that is Rhythm of War. It was just nice to see him eat stew with the Bridgemen. Wasn't that nice? When he sat down, they're like, hey, Dalinar, mate, come sit down, join us. Following Renarin and him, seeing Renarin's power, was god damn, this dude's majestic. He is so cool, and how he sees glimpses of the future and the blank spots, and yeah, we'll talk more about that, about the interludes. Alright, let's talk about Jasnah. First of all, Jasnah in this section, like, what a queen. I'm sorry, what a queen. This scene that I'm going to talk about has become one of my favourite scenes in the entire series. Jasnah, she's with Wit and she's with Dalinar. Was it Ruther? Yeah, the High Prince that was just giving her trouble. Doesn't like a woman being in charge, and she's like looking over the battle plans and she's totally baiting him, and he finally explodes, challenges her, and Wit says he'll defend her and pick a champion. He's like, I have, and it's Jasnah. And when Ruther's like, I'm not going to fight a woman, this is ridiculous, and he throws his sword to the ground, I was like, oh, this is kind of anticlimactic. And then Jasnah just stabs him through the neck. What? That was so amazing. And then she brings him back to life with Renarin, strips him of all his titles, and gives it to his son who he abused. It's like, yeah. Bravo, Jasnah and Wit, the dynamic duo. Yeah, and Dalinar's like, oh, I don't like how harsh she is. She's being very, very abrasive to the whole system. Too many changes. And, nah, dude. Jasnah's on it, man. She's a tough woman, and she doesn't have time to do it, like, in a diplomatic way. We gotta set the standard pretty quick. And we saw that Jasnah can, like, command her shard plate. It seems like Jasnah has sworn the fourth ideal, because I believe with the fourth ideal you can, like, command your shard plate. She was doing pretty fine in battle with her blade, but finally she's like, okay, let's just use our powers. And she has oil come from the sky, and she puts everyone on fire, and it is just, like, pure destruction. When Jasnah returns from the battle, Wit looks quite shaken up, which is extremely unlike Wit, right? So you're immediately like sitting up and like, what is this about? Wit discovers that his pen that he's been writing with is actually a bunch of Kremlings, and we know that those are the Sleepless. And Jasnah thinks to herself, she thought they were a myth until she met a friendly one. Is the friendly one Axis the Collector? He's the only friendly Sleepless we've met. Maybe he ran into Jasnah at some point. I'm so sure when we get Jasnah flashback chapters, she's going to meet Axis the Collector. I'm calling it now. Refer back to this in like 5 years' time and tell me I was right. So Wit just drops a bunch of knowledge, which we kind of knew. He's like, the Ghostbloods are not a Rosharian organization, like they extend over the Cosmere, which is pretty clear already. He mentions like some of the Sleepless are working with them, and he mentions that he's met Thydekar, which I'm almost certain is Mraize's Babsk / the leader of the Ghostbloods. Now, do you want your mind to be blown? I'm pretty sure I'm going to catch some people with this one, because this is a small detail I only just realized. When Gavilar is dying in the very first book, and he's saying his last words to Szeth, he says, "Tell Thydekar I was too late." What? So Gavilar was working with the leader of the Ghostbloods, who is like, he's working across the entire Cosmere. It's like, Gavilar was so deep into huge things that were happening in the Cosmere. So yeah. And then ending this part, the only part I kind of had a problem with, which was a little convenient for me, was when Dalinar like becomes the storm and kind of like swoops Kaladin up as he's about to die. Sorry, last part about Dalinar. Him talking to Shalash, saying that he's gonna meet Isha, the other bondsmith herald. Oh my god, I love how involved the heralds are getting into the story. I cannot wait to see what happens with that. Alright, let's talk about the interludes. Okay, first interlude being Szeth, and I'm pretty sure we all get a smile on our face when we turn the page and we see interludes and we see Szeth. It just like feels cozy. It's like, the Way of Kings, where it all began. Szeth's interlude was like, okay, maybe it wasn't that exciting for everyone, but for me, I was basically dying. When Nightblood actually name-dropped Vivenna and Vasha, if you don't know those names, then you don't know, but when he said those names, even though we know that he knows them and all these connections, just hearing him say it in Szeth's head, I was just like, amazing. And and just the way Szeth just started to fall apart when he realized Taravangian was trying to get another Oathstone, like, I know it's tragic, but it was pretty damn funny. And I love how Dalinar's trying to make him like be less intense. And Szeth's internal like dialogue is just like, how does one be less intense? Like, he can't even fathom being less edgy than he is. Okay, who the hell expected Chiri Chiri to get an interlude chapter? Not me, that's for sure. perhaps the winner of the cutest chapter in the Stormlight Archive. She's getting kind of echoes of the intents of the ancient Larkans, and she's hearing these pure tones of Rosha. She connected to gods. Risen is talking to Vistim about her adventures in Dawnshard and what she has now. Cheery starts speaking very, very basic English to Risen. I'm like, are we gonna get a talking dragon? Are we really gonna get a talking dragon in Stormlight? I kinda hope so. Our boy, again, Taravangian. What a way to end part 3. Okay, I love Taravangian. I know he's done some bad things, and his conversations with Dalinar were amazing in the previous chapters. I probably should have mentioned them, but you can't mention everything. But they were great. He's just trying. I see his side. I see Taravangian's side, I really do. Renarin approaching him, being really, really kind, trying to get him on side. Let's put all that aside. When Taravangian interacts with Szeth again, it is like edge of your seat stuff. It was amazing. He wants Szeth to use Nightblood to kill Odium. Holy, oh my god. If that happens, if Szeth kills Odium with Nightblood, if that happens, I will lose my mind. That was my discussion on part 3. I feel like this was a way more all over the place discussion than I normally do. Let me know what you thought of it. I hope you're all pumped for part 4. And I'm going to get started reading on that tonight. If you are just watching my read-along series, I've got so many Stormlight videos on my channel. Please check them out. And yeah, thank you for taking the time out of your day to hang with me and discuss this freaking awesome book. Have a great weekend, guys. I'll see you all in the next video. See you later.